We are live. Good morning, Facebook. Welcome to Sunday Mother's Day here in Corona Hell. I'm not bitter and I'm not bored, I promise. I am Shari Teigman, for those of you who do not know. I am a performance coach, creative strategist, and chief Maverick in the world of Maverick Land. And I have a very exciting guest today. I have a new friend of mine. John is here. Not feeling so great, but showed up anyway. We have a fellow New Yorker. I never get to speak to New Yorkers. This is very exciting. So John is an incredible, we're going to call you a visual storyteller, which is so cool. Does brand photography, tell stories through his camera. And one thing that I wrote in my post yesterday was, I think in the midst of all of this, and it's getting boring to talk about already, but we're just going to go with it. Stuff has happened, and I think creatives are really taking charge in how people are coping with this. Many of us who already worked online don't feel as much of a push, but people who didn't had to come up with real solutions. And I don't use the word pivot because I hate that word. But
thank you.
Oh, please don't. I did a whole rant on that one. There was a lot of cursing. A whole creative solutions to figuring out what to do now. It doesn't mean people are changing their business models. We're not becoming new people. No one's starting to basket weave, but practically speaking, both health-wise and career-wise, a lot of people have had to make changes for themselves to get through this period of time without losing their mind. And John is a wonderful example of that. So welcome to my basement, John.
Well, thank you, Shari, and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Much appreciated. The child is still sleeping, so I spoke to my mom. That was my first Mother's Day wish. So
exactly, yeah.
Whatever. I'm talking to myself. It's fine. Talk to me a bit about who you were before all of this happened.
And who I will be once we're back on the horse again as a country and a world.
Yes.
I'm a branded lifestyle portrait photographer.
So good.
And you brought up the idea, visual storytelling. I refer to myself as a persuasive visual storyteller.
Oh, sorry.
And
it's such a great way to say it.
Thank you. And I serve speakers and trainers and expert-based business owners to help create an emotional connection with their audience through the photos that they post, through the lifestyle portraits and other image content that we create. That was then. Now, I've translated that from premium branded lifestyle portraits in person, when you're allowed to be in the same room with someone and actually be within 6 feet of them without a mask on their face. I now am shooting virtual Zoom presentation and meetings on my laptop in my apartment.
How the hell did you come up with that idea? I'm seeing amazing photographers do all sorts of things. My friend Sarah, who's probably going to come on, is the person who does my pictures. Brilliant branding photographer. She lives in Israel, works mainly in England and Israel, comes here once in a while. And she's doing headshots and stuff online. I have other people who are doing speaker series. A wonderful friend and client of mine is a branding photographer in England. She's doing a series about all the other aspects of business that are key, just to stay in contact with their people. This one is one. Out of all the options, how did it dawn on you that this was A, going to work, and B, something that would be of value to people?
Well, the short answer is I just wanted to feel useful and not feel sick anymore. So I picked up a camera.
Let's put a caveat here that I didn't know if you wanted to tell everyone.
John, yeah,
okay. John, unfortunately, he's still recovering from COVID. So this is not just, he's sitting in his apartment, 20 minutes from me, just bored out of his mind. He's also been really, really, really ill. So this was not only career-wise, but it was also keep yourself sane in the midst of a very, very good time.
Yeah. So backtrack a little further. So in normal times, I'm a photography sponsor for the New York City chapter of the National Speakers Association. And what I do is shoot their monthly meetings in addition to other things that I partner with them. And obviously having 100 to 150 people in the same room right now is not possible, especially in Thunderdome, also known as New York City. So they've moved it to virtual. And during the first virtual event, I was still kind of not feeling so great. and with symptoms related to COVID-19, whatever that means. That's where I was at and where I am now. But I wasn't feeling well, and I'm listening to this event just to listen to people that I know, to feel connected to people again. And as the MC was on there talking about what was going on, I'm sitting in my office, slumped in the chair, exhausted from doing nothing but sitting around, trying to breathe. And I look around, I'm like, you know what the hell? Let me just grab my camera and be useful. So I grabbed the camera, I snapped the photo. I'm like, wow, this doesn't look as crappy as I thought it would.
It's not the most personal offense to a professional photographer to get a picture on a screen. Oh my God, I can imagine what that feels like.
Well, it was in my apartment, and it wasn't what the current incarnation of what I do is. It was literally, I want to feel useful. I shoot these events. I haven't missed an event since June 2018. That means something to me. I don't care that it's on a screen. Screw it. I need to do something. So I shot the entire program, a couple of shots here and there, just playing, not really having any game plan at all. And then the next day I'm like, I want to write a post because I hadn't written anything in a month. And for me, that's a little crazy because I write all the time. So wrote a post, put it up there, tagged some of the people, and no one had an idea that I was going to do it because I didn't have an idea I was going to do it. And it got a lot of attention from different speakers. And I realized,
your main client base are these amazing entrepreneurs who don't sit at home all day long. They do go out and speak. So it's rocked their world too. This is a new landscape for a lot of you guys. So it was like, how can you make them feel like they're still as qualified and as professional as they were before? They're not used to sitting at home. They're on planes all the time. I know he's one of my favorite. I love Phil Jones. He's just brilliant. I went to his Audible recording when in the city last year, I guess it was. He's just brilliant. And that guy's on
a you were there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. I was there too. Yeah, it's awesome.
See, it was awesome. But those are people who are on planes all day long. Like their whole worlds have changed.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. And they're freaking out because they're losing their contracts. They're getting stuff moved. Some people are trying to do virtual. I was on the phone with at least a dozen of my clients, past clients, current clients, people that I still have outstanding work to do with. And it's a little crazy for them. So, but they're trying to make a, some kind of a shift, a little move, if you will, to kind of pick up the pace. And actually, for some people to satisfy those contracts, they've actually been granted the opportunity to make it virtual. So the idea popped in their head, this is a great idea for them to kind of use these photos to promote themselves for other virtual events while this is
discussed. We don't know what the new normal is going to be after this anyway. So it's not only for now, but think about within their portfolios, they had their old life. Now they'll have this. Someone comes on. It'll be a little, my opinion, it's not a professional opinion. I think it's going to be a little while before those rooms of thousands of people are filled up and people are flying in from all over the world casually and happily to do that. So I think for a while, especially for those clients, there is going to be a hybrid while smaller rooms gather and events figure out what they're going to do. So this becomes part of their portfolio in general. It's not just a pop-up picture, but this really represents a 3D version of what they're capable of doing, that such skilled speakers are able to have that impact, have that connection with their audience over Zoom. And you know what? As much as I love all of our Brady Brunch screenshots, which I take all day long, the difference of the photos that you've been taking, you literally feel like you're missing something important because of the way that you do that. And that's your creativity. That's not, I don't think that there's a technique for this, because you're putting your technical knowledge about, I should never be photographing a computer screen and saying, screw it, we're just going to make this work for both of us. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, well, here's the thing. It's not just that this is the way people are going. It's the way that people have been going for years. Aside from the fact that there are, and I'm just, finding these things out now as I work with a variety of different clients. First of all, the online only sector is gigantic. And I know because they're more than half of the people that I work with. That's number one. But number two, all of these speakers that I work with, the 6 and 7 figure speakers that are on the road constantly and they do their keynotes. They also have online mastermind groups. They also have
100%.
online programs. They also do podcasts. The point of the fact is that what I'm doing now is something that needed to be done before, and I had no idea. And as a result, one of the things, as they say, well, how are you spending your time during this pandemic, and is it valuable?
Breathe, actually.
Yeah, whatever. But the point is how are you spending the time? And the answer to that is within my branded lifestyle portrait packages, this virtual component will now become a staple in some way, shape, or form. I haven't quite figured it out because I'm too busy shooting these damn things right now to understand how it's going to work. But the point is that in order to really encapsulate a full online personal brand that represents who you are, who you serve, why you do what you do, the virtual piece needs to be incorporated. So this is what I'm doing. And with respect to the way that the photos look, all I'm simply doing is photographing them as I do a real person. The laptop on a folding table in this room, my bedroom, in my kitchen, in my living room, it represents the person. And the most important thing about every single photo is still the same thing. It's the expression and the emotional sentiment that that person is displaying in that image. Yes, we need to see the Brady Bunch shot. We need to see the interactivity. Yes, we need to show how the audience gets to be a part of the whole program with the speaker. We need to see the speaker and how they interact, and all of that stuff is important. The most important thing is that you still show your expressions, period.
It's actually even more important than in person, because in person, and all of your clients are inherently dynamic, and they present well, and they put themselves together, and they know how to work the room. That's their skill. I'm not diminishing the beautiful work you do, because I've seen your work and it's gorgeous, but they're easy figures to represent unless you really screwed up. You need to get the right shot, the right lighting, the right angle, and your expertise. But they, as a subject, are the right crowd. You're not having to groom anybody. But the 2D aspect, especially for people who are not used to it, and I know because I work mainly online, you have to be extra dynamic, extra expressive. You have to captivate so that the 30 tabs that are open on everyone's computer are not what they're distracted by. It's a very different skill. And a lot of people who can master a room of thousands are now sitting in front of the laptop saying, shit, most of my interactions, clients say to me all the time, Shari, I can speak in front of people and I can't speak to a camera. I'm like, why are you thinking it's the same thing? Most speakers who are trained speakers feed off of, just like a comedian, feed off of the energy of a crowd. It's a back and forth conversation. I'm sitting here, I've got this little Logitech thing on top of my computer, and I'm talking to it. That's not the same thing. I've gotten accustomed to it. To me, it is now, but I want people to really understand that struggle is not in your imagination, nor is it for you to capture that, but someone has to turn that on so much to be able to hold the space that when on top of it, when you can capture it, and I saw your pictures that you did for Phil, I guess last week, you got the twinkle in the eye. You got the way he moves his hands. He does like the thing with his hands. Like, that's really hard. He's not in a room with anybody.
No, and it's I mean, it's essential. Like, that's a great point that you bring up about like the hands and the body language. All of that stuff is still in play.
It was like watching a performance. I was enthralled. I didn't take one note. I couldn't get over it. I'd never seen a speaker like that, and it was an actual performance. And I'm sitting. Oh, and he did like a 30-day program last year, and he sat in a chair and he was great, but it wasn't the guy that I saw up on camera, up on stage. So you capture them translating that is like double whammy.
Well, I have to tell you, the energy that the speaker feels from the audience is the exact same energy that I feel when I shoot them, because they are feeding off the audience and I am feeding off the speaker, and it is all cyclical, and it really matters a lot, because you cannot listen. This is an amazing thing that we have, this ability to continue to sustain ourselves through this digital platform, and for some people as a continuation of what they do in person. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be able to serve the people that I serve, but I miss what I do unbelievably.
Your background is in television. You've always been used to people. So, you worked on a very well-known TV show here. you're used to exactly what you just said. The speaker, the audience, your whole career until this was capturing that dynamic to then put onto television. So this is not, oh, I picked up a camera and it's fun. That's really different, both video wise, photography wise. The energy is what you've carried over to your now business. So you're getting challenged on like, great, how am I going to do that on the next level? Which I'm not see this all happening, but like you said, who you'll be after this will be unstoppable because this was like the missing piece that you didn't realize was missing.
Wow, from your mouth to God's ears, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, well, the reality of it is that at the end of the day, when people are like, "What is your why?" and all I want to do is take the pictures. I mean, and to be able
from going from video in, how did you go from like you were producer? Is that where you were? So producer to pick up the camera and like, you know what? I'm done with all your baby mama drama, Corey. I'm out. Although I want
more, yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
So I can do this in still shots. I can capture that energy.
Well, what basically happened was this was in 2013. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and it was a slow descent over the course of a couple of months. And towards the end, in the hospice, I was kind of sitting at the side of her bed, kind of thinking to myself, what am I doing with my life? And why am I putting myself through something where I'm very grateful for the 9 years that I had at Moore as a field producer, and I learned a lot. And what I do now is directly related to the skills and the experiences, the massive amount of experiences of working with personalities and people and capturing emotion from that. But you get burned out. That shit was crazy. I don't know how else to put it.
I can imagine.
Really. But but doing that, I at a certain point, I'm just like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to work on a television show. I want to do something that has more value, that I could create a legacy that I'm truly proud of, because I'm actually helping people in a different way than just trying to help a show get ratings, which again, nothing against that. Very grateful. But personally, life-wise,
we're also allowed to grow. We're allowed to grow, and just because someone else thinks it's a dream job doesn't mean we have to put,
right. Right.
It looks good on paper, whether it's a relationship, a job, money, doesn't mean it feeds us. We're allowed to go keep searching and morphing.
And that's what happened. It took about 8 months after my mother died is when I finally quit. And for about 2 years prior to me quitting, I picked up a still camera on the side, and just for fun, for the hell of it, because I took in graduate school, when I went to grad school for production, I got an MFA in TV production. And my last semester, I took a 35 millimeter black and white class. And to this, it was the best class I ever took, ever. It was an elective, didn't even need to take it. I just happened to take it, and I fell in love with the process. And I kind of picked that up again. And when I was getting stressed out from work on the weekends, I would just walk around and shoot photos, and then eventually started doing headshots, and that's how it started. It started as headshots.
I call those the little passion crumbs that drop that we don't realize end up looping around, coming back, and making that. It's so crazy. I mean, I better map that out. You'd be like, that's crazy.
Oh, it would have never. Yeah, it's kind of like this the Zoom presentation stuff. As I said to some of my colleagues, it comes from a place of service and wanting more. And actually, it's like, listen, we all need to make a living. I'm not trying to be under, all trying to make a living, but I want to win. I want everybody to win, and I want it to be genuine from the heart and be passionate about it and do something that actually matters for people, because the people that I help other people. And to me, it's huge. To me.
And you get to translate that, because unless someone experiences it, no one else can choose. Like, if someone's in a room with a speaker or works with someone that you work with, okay, they're already bought in. But you get to be that pathway for them finding out about them, or that twinkle in someone's eye, or the connection piece is like, I need that in my life. I don't have that. That doesn't come through copy. Someone else can write it for you. Websites are all beautiful and flashy, and I'm not diminishing any of the elements, but you cannot replace physical visual connection. And once you're either in or you're out. a certain personality. You're either going to like me or you're not going to like me. And I have to be totally cool with that. And I've had to amplify that in my brand, like not cover parts of me, like this is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But if I don't,
And that,
right, but people come to me all the time when they work with me, like, you're exactly where I thought you would be. I'm like, well, I don't know how to be anybody else, but it's because it's so represented again and again. And the only way I can do that is if someone helps me represent that. I mean, selfies are great, but that's not, my photographer captures the best pictures of me when I'm not trying. I go, well, you and I were talking the other day. I hate being in front of the camera, but that's not what anyone wants to see anyway. Some stuffy, you know, second grade picture smile where I want to crawl out of my skin. You've got to capture like the hugs and the twinkle in the eye and the tears when someone's talking. That's irreplaceable. And that's a big role
yes.
to play in somebody's life.
Well, that's why I refer to what I do as persuasive visual storytelling.
Gorgeous.
Because what makes it persuasive is not you're not trying to get over on somebody. What you're trying to do is put yourself out there in a way that's very honest and very uniquely you, so that the people that are attracted to not only your expertise, not that they feel that you can help solve their problem, but it's also the way in which you do it resonates with them on a personality level, and that what you do as a human being goes far beyond just your expertise, that you're a human being that is actually relatable to them. And that's what these images do. That's why I say I help clients create an emotional connection, because ultimately that is what this is all about. It's about that. I think I like this person, you know, and I have this feeling I want to get to know them more. That's what the photos are for. They're not just vanity driven pieces that make you look good, that give this aspirational kind of sentiment to the people that are viewing the images. Now, there is a little bit of that when it comes to these stage shots where there's thousands of people and you look like a badass, and that's okay. We need the full emotional spectrum. You need to be the badass authority in your space, and you also need to be the vulnerable human being who has had your ass kicked multiple times and has gotten back up and is actually resilient enough to get back up and vulnerable enough to show you how they did it. All of that is possible. All of that is necessary, and that is what I try to capture in every image that I photograph with my clients, laptop or in real life.
I love it. So you decide to do this. You call your clients and you say, hey, I got a crazy idea. What was their reaction?
So how did I do this? It was just a month ago. It's crazy. What I did was I put that. How the hell? It's like it has been nuts. It's like crazy, but good crazy, good crazy.
I agree.
I posted that National Speakers Association post, and then I used that as the spine to kind of ask some of my current clients who I have outstanding work to do. Hey, got this idea. You're interested? Give it a shot. No charge. Let's just, because they're my clients already and I'm fine. And I did like 2 or 3 of those, and then 2 or 3 of them posted on my behalf, and that's what started it. And I posted 0 sale posts, not sales, the wrong way to put it, but I posted 0 promotional pieces about it, other than this is what I did for the National Speakers Association, and that's what started it. And it was a great reminder to me about the importance of building community, building a reputation with those that you serve, that lets them know that you mean well beyond just trying to work with them. And because it was my community that started this, I didn't do shit. I just shot the pictures.
You built that community and that love, connection, and trust long before this. Then it just, when it pays off like that, and I get tears welled up, because on top of it, you weren't feeling, you were in a bad place, and it could feel very isolating and alone. On top of it, then see the kindness of other people in fear and overwhelm. Stand up and say they didn't have to do that, and it's so beautiful.
No.
A lot of that's coming out right now. I hope a lot of people stay the way they're being in this world right now. I hope people remember this is the way it should be all the time, minus the drama and the deaths, of course, and the illness. I'm not diminishing that, but like, if everyone could just remember their humanness, like we could all just do so much better. And how beautiful that it just paid it right forward, right back to you. I love it.
Yeah, but you know what though? The thing about that is these people are these people all the time. This
But
is the
that's what I mean.
reason
You're really
why.
getting to see. Someone can't fake that. They're not turning it on
No,
now. And it's like, and they'll be like that afterwards. And this wouldn't
yeah.
affect it. And it's beautiful.
Oh, and believe me, on the flip side, I've seen that too.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of people that have been just doing the vulture kind of tactics of trying to. It's like you need to not even be. I don't respond to that stuff very well.
New Yorker, you know what? But the sad part is a lot of people, I mean, I'm going to try to be nice here. A lot of people are doing it because they're dicks, but a lot of other people are doing it because they don't know what else to do and it's their fear. And they're not going to be able to clean it up afterwards. People will remember how someone made them feel afterwards, no matter what was sold, no matter what price point, no matter what flash sale. It's gross and it needs to stop.
We talked about that, and then I wrote an article that's coming out sometime this month, and it's basically, it's titled "Desperation Stinks to High Heaven."
It really does.
And it's essentially, you need to be very mindful of the way that you are acting now because people have very long memories, and if you're presenting yourself now as some kind of wellness expert or productivity expert or some kind of expert that you never were ever before, and now all of a sudden during the pandemic you've become an expert, people are going to remember that inauthenticity and they are never going to want to work with you again.
And they should never it. Good. I mean, and it's sad, but it's been a very oversaturated market for a long time. And it's great that a lot of people have dreams and desires to create businesses for themselves. You can't fake expertise, love, and connection, no matter how good and slick your funnel is, no matter who you hired to coach you to say the right words and make the right faces. And, it's gonna, the wheat and the sheep and the wheat and the, what's on top of the wheat? I'm going to change my analogy because I can't remember it now. The word just went out of my head. It's going to separate oil and water very quickly. And the people who were meant to stick around are going to do really, really well. And the other people, both financially and emotionally and reputation-wise, are just not going to be able to ride the coattails anymore. And I don't think it's a bad thing, honestly.
No, I mean, listen, the reality of it is prior to me coming up with this idea and having stuff to shoot, my goal was to just get in touch with people that I work with, people that I want to work with, people that I have worked with, and just how are you holding up? What's going on? Is there someone you want to meet? Just having conversations, being productive in that way. Now, I'm fortunate that I had a couple of shekels saved up to at least survive a little bit, right? But even without that, it's like if I put myself out there and commoditize what I do, that would go against over 3.5 years of building relationships.
That's to get through this time. And I'm not saying people don't have to come up with solutions, but the reason I wanted to have you on is solutions are important if they still maintain the integrity of your business, the connections that you had. We're all having to come up with solutions.
That's where I was going with it. Yeah.
That's the thing is like, you didn't destroy everything you built to survive because what are you going to do afterwards?
Yeah, because the time after this is going to be a hell of a lot longer than the time within this. And I was struggling with the concept of what I was going to do. And the best part about it is it came from love and service. And
when that's the answer, you honestly can't go wrong. And
I'm very lucky.
I'm thrilled that it worked. But if it didn't work, I have no doubt in my mind you would have come up with another idea. If you came to your clients like, hey, I've got this weird thing, let's try it, and it didn't work, you would have gone back to your drawing board, aka 3 inches from the last place you were, since we can't go anywhere, although you have Starbucks open and I don't, so I hold it against you, Queens boy. But
judge me because we're awesome.
I'm judging you. I have my lungs, you have Starbucks. I now feel like we're eating. But you would have then come up with another thing like, okay, I'm gonna turn another combination on lock because you're tuned in and you're tapped into who they are, what they need, what they're afraid of now that you can hold their hands in and say, shit, I can't lose my reputation. I'm used to being on a plane. I'm used to being on a stage. I don't even think about it. And now I'm having to face my own labels and roles and say, how can I still be me without this? And you created a solution.
Right.
Still gives them that.
Yeah. The funny thing is this was like idea 3. By the way, ideas one and two were different. And I never developed ideas one and two
Amazing.
because I got sick. I had to shut it down a little bit, and then coming out of it, that's when idea three came. But
Amazing.
yeah, no, I mean, who do you serve? What are the problems you solve? And it seems like it's like, oh, you're dumbing it down to such a simplified level. You're never going to
That's the
figure it out.
only
But the
question
reality,
you ever ask. Again, every day people should ask that.
I
Hey,
know because
I see your hellos. Hello.
you
Amazing.
see why.
Everyone's saying hello in the comments. We're
Oh,
getting
oh,
comments on the side. StreamYard, I forget to look to the side. So
oh.
that you actually answered the question I was going to ask. So the world goes back to some semblance of normal. You get to be 6 feet in front of people. Your speakers are back doing what their thing is doing. This isn't going away. This is still going to be part of what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, talk to me about your hashtag. I want to know more about it.
The hashtag? It relates to, well, first of all, one of my close friends, Donna Cravata, she and I were brainstorming one day, and we were thinking about trying to come up with a customized hashtag. And she said to me, you say, yeah, absolutely a lot. And I kind of do, Italian kid from Queens, so it pops out every now. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you say a lot of other
absolutely.
things that could have been hashtags also.
I do.
So
I
do
say
I.
a lot of shit. But anyway,
Turn them out, baby.
yeah. She said to me, you say it a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I do. It sounds catchy and that's cool. And then I started to think about it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's catchy. I just don't want something that's catchy. I'd like something that has a little bit of meaning, a little beyond that. So I started thinking to myself about life and where I was at that time. I think it's about maybe 2.5 years old, maybe 3 years old, the hashtag. And I tied it to the story about my mom. And I tied it to my life before she died and when I was working for other people and being resentful and very anxious and miserable and just not very fulfilling anything or having meaning or purpose. And then thinking about after and quitting and starting my own thing and still being anxious and still working through fear and all of that, but feeling the fear and doing stuff anyway. It was very new. So I went from a very hell no type of life
That hell no or hell yes thing. Yeah.
to a but I don't like doing the hell no hell yes because that's what everybody does. So I did the absolutely instead, and I'm like,
You know what? I
and
like
it's real.
that absolutely because it's not hell yes in relation to something. It's just unless it's full, yeah, absolutely, you're not going to do it because that's how you now filter decisions, which I love. And we all
Yeah, like I said, I'm still scared of I still am anxious
who
all the
isn't?
time. We've had
I'm
no,
sorry.
but
Anyone who isn't is lying. That's bullshit. If they say they're not.
well, be that as it may, it's like it's just a different way to kind of approach life for me. And every day I'm working through this whole bizarre, crazy, unbelievable experience, and still not being 100%. I mean, it's hard. It is really hard, but this does mean something, and I do harken back to it all the time. And it's a philosophy to
I
me.
love
It's just
it.
kind of reminding myself, keep going.
I also love that creativity is what kind of lifted you out. I mean, you've really been physically suffering. And you could have sat in it. Who would blame you for sitting in it? But the creativity of getting back to service and helping your people was what has gotten you up out of bed, literally. Like, that's
I
crazy.
lo- I mean, I the fact that I get to take pictures for a living for the rest of my life, or as long as I see fit, I'm playing with house money. That is how I see the world. I never thought that would be possible. Am I living have I manifested and brought together the full realization of where I'm going to be? No, I'm on the path. The fact that there is a path is amazing to me. Is absolutely, I never thought it would be possible 6, 7 years ago. So that's why I go back to it, because the shit that I get out of my clients is exactly the way that I feel about what I do. And the way that I'm talking to you about it is exactly the way that I talk to them in front of
But
the
this
camera.
is what I want everyone in the world to feel about every aspect of their lives. And I know people are like, that's not possible. It's possible. I didn't always feel like this. You didn't always feel like this. And we're both
No.
very honest and raw. It doesn't mean every day is great. It's not life either. That's bullshit. But
Yeah.
it's what buoys you up to get back up again, to stick your face above water and be like, I miss it. I want to feel that again. I'm going to do anything I can to do that. Put my face
Exactly.
above water. That's amazing.
Exactly. It's you know, I have this. So when I shoot in Manhattan, and I'll take a cab, right? I'll take a cab home with my gear, and after a 4-hour
You don't want to
lifestyle
be
portrait
on the
session.
subway back to Astoria with stuff that costs more than the subway does. No, I agree with you. Good call.
I've done it. I've done it many times.
I have no
but,
doubt you've done it.
Yeah, but there's this feeling. There's this double-edged feeling. There's this. I get in the cab. I am literally emotionally, physically, and spiritually spent after shooting, because it's a therapy session, it's a photography session, it's a negotiating every type of logistic you could think of, working in New York City in an office with 9 million people out. I'm done, right? But I then put on my music. I'm in the cab. I have a select type of songs that I listen to, and all I think about is how awesome that fatigue and that feeling is, and I love it.
That's
I
gorgeous.
love it.
Also, giving yourself that cab ride to transition and process and not jump right to the next thing, or I now got to edit. You know, anyone who's worked with a photographer knows the day of the shoot is nothing compared to the rest of the work that happens. But, well, it's a big part of it, but you've got so much else to do. It's done for the subject. It's certainly not done for you. But I love that you give yourself that. And I bet that probably took time to, not feel like, oh, I'll just run to another one, and kind of let that nestle in and know you created that.
No, when I do these shoots, well, the virtual stuff's a little different. I'm in my apartment, and and it is what it is. But when I'm doing those like Big Daddy shoots, and we're out there for 4 hours or 2 hours, and I'm rolling around on the floor, avoiding traffic and not trying to get hit while I'm weaving in between cars trying to shoot this shit. No, it's the best feeling in the world, and like I said, I can't believe I actually do this for a living.
I love
And
it.
it's
I love that.
It's awesome. It's awesome, and I miss it so much. I miss that part a lot.
It's coming back eventually. There'll be less traffic. I miss traffic.
Yeah.
I'm dying to
Yeah,
talk to
right.
somebody. I just want to go in my car and give a good honk and a curse. I don't feel like myself without this.
You
So
just want to flip the finger to somebody. I know what you want.
if you hear it, it's me. It's just
Me too.
So you work internationally too. I mean, I know you're based here, and people would come here for a shoot, but with all this virtual stuff, you work anywhere. Not at 5
well, actually, for the branded stuff, I fly too. I was actually set to go to London before all this shit happened, and I've been all around. What?
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh, listen. If the client will put me in a plane and fly me to where they are, and by the way, more cases than not, it makes sense for me to go to where they live, because their brand is a lot for some people, not for everybody. For some people, it really is imperative to them that we photograph them in their environment where they are. So I go. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Like I said, I was supposed to go to. I was in Vegas in January, and I was in Miami in December, and I was going to go to London, and now I'm not. For now. But,
for now, it feels weird, but it's giving us a good chance to make sure. Look, same like you. I think I've fallen in love with my work even more than I was before, because I'm never on autopilot, but I'm not making assumptions about what it looks like and where I'll be and all of that. And it's been a real dog whistle call for those of us who want more. And it's a real eye clearing of how much we love what we do. And if there are elements that someone doesn't love, now's the time to fix it, to get to a hashtag, yeah, absolutely, because we all have we don't have the excuses of the busyness and the have-tos anymore. Like, now is the time to course correct. It's a beautiful opportunity if someone has the bravery to do it. I'm not saying it's easy, but saying it's something you don't want to do isn't easy either. So people really need to realize it's not really a choice.
Well, the thing about that is the reason why I stayed and was so resentful for so many years was because I felt that it was stability.
False
that I
sense
was
of
treated.
stability. That's one of the main reasons people don't budge.
I mean, I worked at television. Maury could have gotten sick, God forbid, but he could have gotten sick, or we could have gotten canceled. Or it's one of the most unstable
Exactly.
businesses that
Yeah.
exist. And I'm like, and now, but you don't know that
You
when you're on the other side. How can you? Because
Exactly.
that's
After going through all that schooling and production, and we do this, we go to school, we have family and societal things. That's a dream job. A guy went through all that schooling for production and then is on one of the biggest television shows in America at the time. What idiot would leave that? Of course, that's the story you tell yourself. People would have killed to have that job. Your classmates,
yeah.
your professors, it's like, okay, I'm going to be miserable, but everyone else would want this, so I should probably stay. I mean, that's asinine, but it's what we all do every day in our lives, micro and macro.
It's yeah. I'm a big fan of the show Westworld that's on HBO. And it's this whole, I won't get into the whole thing, but basically it's artificial intelligence and robots, and bigger themes about how people live their lives and freedom, and do we have free will, and living in a loop, and all of these different things. And that show really brought to light for me the real concept of the fact that, we are creatures of comfort, and we want stability, and we want our loops. But at the end of the day, in order to get anything that's going to really move the needle for you, that's going to create a legacy that you're proud of, that's going to really get you excited to jump the hell out of bed and do stuff, is the thing that is the hard part, the hard stuff, the challenging thing, the thing that you got to fight for, the thing that's not necessarily guaranteed, but at the end of the day, it's going to bring the highest reward for yourself and for the value that you're going to provide to people that you serve, because it means that much to you, that you will go the extra mile, and that you're not just going to mail some shit in. You're actually going to work hard for it. And that's all of the intangible benefits that have to do with you and for the people that you work with. So
But
it's
if it's
just
not, if anything, I don't care what category, I speak about this a lot. If it's not internally driven, and a lot of people have no idea how to turn something to be internally driven because we've been taught to be externally driven, as soon as it
yeah,
puts in with you, you'll stick to it. No matter
yeah.
how good it is from the outside, there's only so long we can keep faking things, pretending, pushing, forcing. It just doesn't work. It doesn't. It can't be for everyone else. And like you just beautifully said, there'll be so much more for everyone else if it's fueled from inside of you, because the giving is endless. It's this infinity energy of you and I can't stop even if no one's in the room. So of course the people around us are going to benefit because we're doing what we're meant to do with them and for them, so they can do what they're meant to do. It's a beautiful little flowy, circly thing.
It's magical, is what it is.
Magical. I agree with you. I
It's
totally
magical.
agree. I'm happy you agree.
Oh
John,
yeah.
I love this. How can people reach you? How can they find out about these virtual shoots? And then when the world opens up again, your regular shoots?
Well, what we could do is just direct everybody to my website, johndomato.com.
Hold on, I'm putting it in.
I have the link to the Zoom thing, but I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. So we'll put that in
When we
after, if
get
that's
off, I'll
cool.
pop it in here when we're done. I'll pop it in the word
Yeah.
section. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Blurb.
Honestly, and then people can just add me on Facebook, actually, since we're here, and because I like to have my conversations in Facebook, so they can just add me here, and we can start there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for using up your lung power. I'm so happy that we met. I'm so happy we're connected. If in a few months when we're allowed out, we've already decided we're getting drunk somewhere in New York, so that's a given.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So that's
Absolutely.
But until then, feel better. Thank you so much. Continue doing your amazing work. I just love watching someone so. I mean, I feel that passionate about what I do. So it makes me so happy when other people do, because it's like, I just want to walk around high-fiving everyone. Like, look what we've all created and what we get to help each other create. It's really so beautiful. So anyone watching this who wants to learn more about these virtual shoots and John in general, websites there. I'll pop up the virtual shoots. He's priced this amazingly to make it accessible for people. It's such value. And again, like we said, this is stuff we're all going to need afterwards. For someone to capture your magic in a variety of ways just means someone who wouldn't be sure how to choose you gets another opportunity to see a 3D version of you. It makes the sales process and connection process so much easier if you're just more you. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.